Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Get Fit With Me, Expanding Your Physical and Mental Fitness group. This group is for individuals who are ready to expand both their physical and mental fitness while helping and supporting others with similar goals all along the way. Every single week, we talk about a different topic, but they all revolve around either physical fitness, mental fitness, or nutrition. And this week, we are talking more around kind of a balance between mental fitness and nutrition. We're talking about emotional eating, which is not just nutrition itself, but it's the concepts and how to reprogram our mind. So to stop the cycle, how we can interrupt the cycle and create a new cycle. So I'm really excited. I actually was looking back and I had a lot of feedback on this training. We did it like 8 months ago and I was like, we're redoing it. I've learned so much more since then. So I'm excited to teach you guys 3 tips today to help break that emotional eating cycle, that with time and the more consistent you can be when these habits happen or these programs in our mind, the more we can break those, the easier it's going to be. So, but before we get into all of that, we have people in our room today. So I want to know who is here. I want to know who you are, where you're from, and what is a win for the week. We haven't done wins in a while. And remember, wins can be big, they can be small, they can be personal, they can be work. What they are is it's something exciting or something good that has happened that we probably haven't acknowledged because we don't acknowledge those wins and celebrate them. So here is a spot to do that. And if you're watching on Facebook, either live or the replay, drop in the comments, let us know who you are, where you're from, and your win for the week. And Millie, you're the one unmuted. You want to start us off?
Oh, okay. My win for the last couple of weeks, I guess, is that I didn't have a gain while I was traveling in Italy. So I feel really happy about that, you know, and especially I've been trying to weigh myself every day and it's still looking good. So, and we ate lots of great, delicious stuff. I didn't worry about food, actually, but we walked a lot too, and that helped.
Good. I am so happy to hear that. And I love that you went to Italy and you just enjoyed it, that you didn't restrict yourself. You just enjoyed it.
Yeah. And you know what, thank you, because I was kind of worried about it. And I thought, no, I do want to enjoy it, but not that you would have to give me permission, but you really helped me through that and made me say, yes, I'm enjoying it. How often do you get to Italy? So well, thank you.
You are welcome. And you're right. You don't need my permission, but it's nice to talk it through with someone else just to get out of our own head and get that second agreement with it. I like it too. When I'm thinking through something, I like the agreement. If Jamie's watching, I like her to agree with me before I move forward on something sometimes. We just need it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here, Millie. You look all dressed up nice today in your jean jacket, and I like it.
Thank you. I'm running errands, but I'm done with them, so I'm heading back home. I thought I'd make it home in time to watch this in my office, but you'll see me the last half in my office.
You're here. Well, thank you. Karen, how about you? Who are you? Where are you from? And what is your win for the week?
Well, one of my early wins, just looking at Millie's pictures. I loved them. They were great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was like, oh, she's cooking and eating all the great stuff. So I was enjoying that as you posted. But I'm Karen Wheatley and I live in Rising Sun, Maryland. And my win for the week was I went grocery shopping. Maybe gosh, I'm so losing track of this week. Like, I don't know what day it is. It might've been last night or the night before. I think it was last night. And I spent more time on the outer aisles of the grocery store than I did on the inner aisles.
That's awesome. How'd that feel?
It felt weird, like I was shopping for someone else. And I looked at my cart, I just went all in. I went and got, some cottage cheese and I got fruit and I got salad and I got carrots and tomatoes and celery and all this stuff. And I'm looking at my cart going, what in the world? Like, so, because I realized that if it is in the house, I will eat it, or I will find a way to justify to eat it. So I need to fill the house with some other stuff. And I put all of Mike's goodies out in the garage refrigerator.
I love it. That is a huge win. Changing our pattern, because you've probably been shopping one way in the grocery store for however many years, that changing that pattern right there, that's huge. I'm so proud of you. And you made a really big post this week, so I want to acknowledge you for that. You posted in the group and you shared your commitment. Can you share with the group a little bit why you did that and kind of our little conversation on how that happened?
Yeah. So, like, this group is full of really cool women, and I always feel like, and right or wrong, like, we're never there to share each other's downtimes. It's always the highlights, right? And so lately I have just had real issues with binging. Like, I started off Lent so good, no chips, went for the first 2 weeks and I didn't even think about it. And then it just hit me, and I would binge on chips, and then I would feel guilty, and then I would eat more. And I just thought, so we went to Disney last week, and that kind of broke the chip thing because they weren't in the house, and we did a lot of walking and whatever. And I came back, and again, it was yesterday or the day before, and I just went nuts on chips. And I thought, it was a terrible thing. I was bored, so that made me want to get chips. And then as I was eating them and reading a book, which is what I do, I just don't even think about it, just shovel them in, read. Then I felt guilty because I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you keep saying you're going to be better and you're not doing anything. And so then after that, I felt scared because I had just talked to you saying, I really want to be in a different jean size in 6 weeks. Am I ever going to be able to do it? Like, I just was like, it was just like so many emotions wrapped up in stupid chips. Like, so anyway, that was the conversation. I think, I don't know, unless I missed a point you wanted me to make.
No, that is perfect. And we talked on Monday about how you wanted to recommit to yourself after that trip. And leading into you and I texting yesterday about that cycle that you had. And then today, I loved when you emailed me, you're like, you picked the topic perfectly. Things line up. I picked this topic a month ago. So I love how this all lined up, because at some point we do all fall into this, whether it's something that happens literally every single day or it's something that's a rarity. We all deal with emotional eating in some capacity. I truly do believe that. I still do. Boredom is a big one for me.
Yeah. Yep. And then it's always followed by guilt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, what are you doing? Anyway.
Well, thank you for sharing. Valisa, are you able to share? I don't see you in the picture, but I wanted to, there we are.
Sorry, I'm multitasking.
I love it.
Some days, that's how it goes.
Who you are, where you're from, and your win for the week.
Okay, I am Valisa from Ann Arbor, and my win for the week. So I heard her say the grocery shopping going on the outside. So this week we did grocery shopping, and this is like, I don't know, probably like the 4th time that I've like made the effort to only like start around the outside edge. And I feel like this time I didn't even have and so I filled up on all the fruits and vegetables and salad. And then I went down, the dairy aisle and stuff. And so by the time we got to the chips and cookies and all of that junk, I was like, our cart's pretty full. So I let the kids pick like what they wanted, but I didn't. I let them pick the ice cream they wanted that I didn't want, to try and say, no, I don't need that. So that was my huge win. This is probably the first time I went to the grocery store and did not buy myself chocolate. Chocolate is my weakness. And I didn't buy any. So
Good
Yay.
for you. I love hearing the grocery shopping wins for the week. Like, that just makes me so happy because when you guys go to the grocery store and you prep the right way and you go through it and you do the outside aisles first, like we've talked about, it makes eating at home so much easier because you've prepped for what's going to be in your house. So awesome.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing, Valisa. And I know, Jean, if you want to drop in the comments, I know you are on a lunch break right now and you're just listening along, who you are, where you're from, and your win for the week, and I will share that. I'm Morgan Akovich. I'm from Lansing, Michigan, and my win for the week is I am working with a woman out in Wisconsin to do a women's retreat for her company. So that is my fun win, and I had a phone call with her today. So I'm excited to get in this area and to get to play around with it. So
That's so cool.
I know, I'm excited. And I'm excited to share. It's in May. So once it happens, I'm going to let you guys all know the process of it too, because there's a lot that goes into this and the emotions are going to be everywhere. I have a feeling, just in any other work. So this training, I've created it. I did it about 8 months back, like I said, but it's something that comes up often and it's been coming up with a lot of my clients. And whether we call it emotional eating or we call it binging, whatever we want to call it, we all deal with it at some point. We all have something that triggers us that leads us to food in the long run. So if we practice consistency and we practice interrupting those patterns, with time, we can break those cycles or we can make them less frequent. I think it's hard to ever fully eliminate binge eating or emotional eating altogether because we have emotions. We are human. Like we're not just going to lose our emotions, which it's not going to happen. But we can implement tools and tips, which I'm going to teach you guys today. And we're going to do an exercise later on how to interrupt those cycles so that when we are feeling an emotion of something and we feel triggered to then run to the pantry, we can stop it and do something else. And the biggest one for me is boredom. And I still struggle with this, not as much because I have things in place to help me when that happens. But usually it's when I'm bored. It's at the end of the night, we're watching Netflix and I'm just like, I'm not hungry, but I could use a snack right now while we're watching something. Or it's like, I could use a glass of wine. Like that is where my mind goes when I'm bored. During the day, I don't get it as much, but evenings, boredom hits and I'm like, what is in there? I had chocolate chips last night, multiple handfuls of chocolate chips. That is where I win. And I was like, okay, dark chocolate chips is apparently what we were going for. Have not done that in a very long time, but it happened. I was bored. I got done working. I was watching a show. But if I would have stopped and implemented the 3 things I'm going to teach you, that wouldn't have happened. So it still happens. We are human. It's going to happen. But this is just a way to help train and break that cycle. And the more we practice it, the easier it will be. So I had to look up what emotional eating was, what the definition was. Emotional eating is when people use food as a way to deal with feelings instead of to satisfy hunger. Pretty self-explanatory. We choose food to deal with our emotions. So when your first impulse is to open the fridge, the cabinet, when you're stressed, lonely, upset, guilty, bored, even happy and excited. Because we even get it on those good feelings. You're like, oh, I just did something great. I'm going to go have some chips. I'm going to go have some ice cream because I'm going to reward myself. That's emotional eating when we reward ourselves with food as well. Emotional hunger cannot be fulfilled with food. It is going to help you feel good in that moment. But then we spin into guilt, shame, stress. What did I just do? I should have done something else. We spiral there, and then the cycle continues. And it's been that way. I don't think I ever learned what this was until I was older. And you guys probably didn't even realize till you got older that this was a cycle that you were in, and because nobody really talked on it. Nobody talks about this. So in this conversation, you guys may feel resistance. You may feel uncomfortable. you may feel bad at yourself for why do I let myself do that? And I want you to just acknowledge it and let it happen, because those are feelings, and you guys could easily all turn your screens off and go to the kitchen when I'm talking about this and leave me and go emotionally eat about something. But instead, you guys are here, and just let yourself feel those feelings and not feel like we have to cope in a different way. Because it's when we don't want to feel those feelings is when we go get something else. So before I get into our tips, how's everybody feeling? What's coming to mind? We've got Millie jumping in on a different thing here.
You're making me nervous.
I am? Why am I making you nervous?
Because you're like, well, you may want to push back on this. I'm like, what? What does that mean?
Good. And part of that's going to be because we're going to come up with alternatives. We're going to come up with alternatives that are not going to food. And that right there is where a lot of us will be like, nope, I can write it down, but I'm not going to do it. And that's where that resistance is going to come from.
Okay.
Lisa, is there anything coming up for you? You look like you're making some ground beef.
Actually, because I did not do a good job of watching the freezers. I am down to like 5 pounds of beef that has to last me for like 3 more weeks. So it's ground venison. And I'm using my own taco seasoning. I think I got it from you. And because we have a busy night tonight, so I'm doing spaghetti now and taco meat. And then I've been doing instead of in shells or making nachos, putting them in peppers, bell peppers. So that's what I'm working on right now. I am a huge stress eater. Chocolate's my go-to. Nervous, stressed, bored, I go to the chocolate. So I'm excited, but yet a little nervous of what you're gonna say.
I love the nervousness. Millie, how about you? What's coming to mind for you? How are you feeling before we move into this?
Good. It was kind of funny. One of the things that I tend to, when we sit and relax, and we've been so busy the last couple of weeks that we haven't really got to sit and relax and watch TV. And we're catching up on our binge stuff that we taped. And we buy the Skinny Pop, that big bag.
Mm-hmm.
And that's called our snack pack because we kind of can go through that big bag, my husband and I. So I went the other day because it's just endless eating, mindless eating, you just eat it and it tastes so good. And we microwave popcorn and we make homemade popcorn and we love popcorn at night when we eat. And I like that Skinny Pop best. But I added up all the calories in that bag, and because we eat that whole bag, and sometimes it takes 2 nights, but sometimes we can get through it in 1 night. It's over 2,000 calories. Not so Skinny Pop any. But the 130, and I usually take a little bowl. My husband has a bigger bowl, but I fill that once or twice. But we go through it, and that's 2,000 calories we're eating mindlessly at night without, any thought. Oh, sure, there's fiber in it, but
there's only so much fiber you need at the end of the night.
Yeah. So that was, I guess, a revelation too this week. And I'm going to think differently when I go to buy that next time. Maybe I'll try to make it last all week. Then I won't feel so guilty, but yeah.
We have Jamie. Hello, Jamie, for being on. And we have Cherry watching TV. All of my kids want snacks, so I join in too. It's so hard not to. When somebody else is eating, to not just go into it. It's like, oh, I want to be included. The emotion of wanting to be included as well comes in. Like, oh, they're doing that. Or I just ate dinner before. I won't eat when I go out. That never
Right.
works. So for any of you guys who have a health journal specifically, grab that out, or your health notebook, or and if you don't, grab a piece of paper, something that's not going to just randomly get lost. Because as we go through these 3 tips, I want you to write them down just so you can see, because there's 3 things that I want you to think about, and I'm going to go into them a little bit more in depthly. So step number 1, when you start to feel something come on, you need to pause and distinguish, is this emotional hunger or are you actually hungry? This is where I find the boredom is where it's the hardest for me, is with the boredom emotion. And some of us don't always know the difference between emotional hunger and physical hunger. Do you guys know the difference?
Mm-hmm.
What comes to mind for you, Karen?
Well, when you feel, I know for me, when I'm physically hungry, I feel lightheaded and I feel, like my stomach's growling.
Mm.
There's physical signs of that, which I don't have very often because I just eat when I'm, 3 times a day, whether I'm hungry or not. So yes.
You're right. It's those physical. So physical hunger will come on gradually, usually. It's not just all of a sudden we're hangry. If we're hangry, we've missed the gradual signs. Hunger can wait. You can tell yourself, okay, I'm going to wait to eat because I'm physically hungry. I can physically wait. Physical hunger is open to options. A lot of things sound good. Oh, dinner sounds good. Oh, a salad. Physical hunger stops when you actually are full. You have that sensation of, oh, my belly's full. I don't need any more. Eating to satisfy physical hunger doesn't make you feel bad about yourself. Emotional hunger comes on suddenly. That's that really fast. I'm triggered by something. I need something to fix that feeling.
When you say, I have a taste for, and you don't
Yes.
really, but yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm craving this. Well, why are you craving that? What is brought on that craving?
Mm-hmm.
Emotional hunger feels like it needs to be satisfied instantly. Like there's nothing will stop you. You are like a bear in the woods and you're going to get to what you need. Emotional hunger craves a specific comfort food. So there's something specific you want. It's not like, oh, I'm emotionally hungry, I'm going to go get myself a salad. Like, no, it's usually those things that bring us comfort. Emotional hunger isn't satisfied with a full stomach. So we will eat endlessly. There's no full sensation that we feel. And emotional hunger triggers feelings of guilt, powerlessness, and shame when we're done. Is there anything else that's kind of coming up for you guys as I read through those in tip number 1? So recognize, pause, and recognize the difference between emotional hunger and physical hunger. That is step number 1.
What do you do when you feel like it's consuming? Like pull over to the nearest wing stop and order wings and sit in the parking lot and eat them. Consuming.
So let's get through. Awesome question. Let's get through step 2 and 3 that will take us through how to stop this. And if I don't answer that, or I forget to bring that back up, bring that question back up, because you are not the only one that has had that, where you need to stop at the gas station to get that candy bar or pull into the drive-thru to get that Diet Coke, whatever that is.
Okay.
Number 2, acknowledgement and awareness of the emotion you are actually having. So when you want to do that drive-through to go to Wingstop and get the wings and eat it, what is that emotion? And are you actually being aware of it and acknowledging it? Or are we reverting to a solution right away? So many of us find the solution to something that is broken or that needs to be fixed, and not actually sitting with that emotion that we are feeling. So questions that you can ask yourself are, what brought this feeling on? Was there an action? Was there a phone call? Was there something in front of you? Was there a road rage driver that just pissed you off? Like, what happened to bring on this feeling? What was the trigger? What does that feeling you're feeling make you want to do? Like, does it make you want to eat, scream, be frustrated? Like, what does that feeling make you want to do? And there's no wrong answers to these. So like, I'm not going to tell you how to feel. I'm not going to tell you what your action should be, but we're going to break up the cycle and give you different options. Because we only see one way now. We only see one way of food is the only option. And then think, how many times has that happened today? So maybe it's 5 o'clock at night. How many times has that feeling of frustration set in? Were the triggers all the same? Or were there a frustration in 6 different areas of life that day? Because these feelings that we feel that we are covering up with food are ones we don't actually want to acknowledge and feel that, oh yeah, I'm having that feeling. I'm just going to fix it. We're going to put a Band-Aid on it. And the food Band-Aid doesn't work. How's everyone feeling after step 2?
Okay, so I feel like I can resonate with this one because, you know, I work from home, homeschool the kids, I'm a leader, a lot of their activities, all of those things. So I'll get an email or a call and it's, I need you to do this, which may or may not be my job, you know, type thing. And so I have to do it. And my go-to is like, I'm stressed now because I have to do something extra that was unexpected, not part of my plan. And my go-to is, okay, go grab a couple M&Ms, go grab, you know, like bite-sized candy bar. Like I need something to give me a boost to like do then what I have to do. And then I'll go back for like another handful, like to keep me going through it. And so I'm trying to break that habit. Like that's, and I try and justify like, oh, it's a small handful. It's just this bite-sized candy bar. But when it adds up to like 6 of them, it's not bite-sized anymore. So but that's what I feel like. I need to do a better job of acknowledging like, okay, why am I doing this? I don't need it. It's just kind of like a coping.
Or acknowledging the moment when that email comes through and that stress. Let your body sit with it for a second of it's okay to have that overwhelming feeling. It's okay to sit with it take a few deep breaths. And then after that pause, why did it happen? Acknowledge that it's happening and then see if you want the candy. Because it is okay to eat because of an emotion. I don't want you guys to think it's not. Because if you are like, you acknowledge it and you're like, I still want the damn chips. I feel good. I went through the process. Eat them. Eat the candy. But if you know that it's going to lead to not feeling good, the guilt, the shame, the powerlessness, and you haven't gone through and paused, acknowledged, and figured out what the reason was, then you're not helping yourself. So think about when that stress comes on. Okay, it's that mom again. That mom keeps reaching out. She's not doing her job. She keeps sending the email that her kids are responsible for. Like, I love how you're telling the girls.
That like actually happened this week.
And then also thinking, is it a conversation that needs to be had with her to eventually eliminate the stress from you? Because if there's a certain thing that's a trigger, we then have to look down the road. Can we just eliminate it? Can a conversation be had to help take it off the plate type of thing.
Sure. Or if it's going to come and I don't have control over it, but I do have control of, okay, I'm in the moment. I have this feeling now, and kind of work through some of those steps. So it's not just the, okay, I know I got to face it, but cause I'll go for the chocolate or candy, and then I get a crash from it. So then I go back for more, cause I'm like, well, I need this high again to keep me motivated. And it's like this vicious cycle that's need to be broken.
And remember, when we go for those comfort foods of sugar and chips and that salty stuff, all that is a carb. So it's going to take your blood sugar level up and then down, and it's going to do this. So if it happens, pair it with a fat or a protein, because that can help level us out a little bit more. So grab jerky and some M&Ms. Like, you can pair them to give yourself a little bit of balance. You also eliminate that crash, or you don't crash as hard, and then you want them again, and then we do the dragster over and over again.
Okay, that's a good point.
Anything else? Okay, number 3, support yourself in the moment. When you have this pause, how can you guys support yourself in the moment that doesn't depend on food? And I'm going to list off some examples. And Karen, you did one of these this week. Journal about it. Move away from the situation. If it's that email that comes in and you want to throw your computer, walk away from your computer. Go get outside, get some fresh air. Play some music. Get your mind on something else. Meditate. Yell. Scream. Call a friend. Send a voice memo. Explain what's happening. Because I can almost guarantee that the person you're sending or talking to has felt like this at one time, but hasn't felt comfortable enough to share this. Do something to help you walk through what's happening with that emotion. For me, it's like, I'm bored, don't walk upstairs. I'm gonna go out and get the mail, go check the mail, even though the mail doesn't come for 3 more hours. Like, I know it doesn't come for 3 more hours, but it helps get me out of the environment and the temptation. The biggest thing is trying not to have food revolved around it. Because if you can just separate yourself from the area where the food is, if you work in your kitchen, it's hard. Or if you work in your kitchen or you have it anywhere, just get outside of the situation, put yourself in a different environment. So this is our activity time. You guys are going to come up with a list of 10 things that you are going to turn to when these emotions hit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my whiteboard, and you guys are going to work for about 2 to 3 minutes here. I'm going to set my timer, and then I'm going to ask you guys, we're going to go around, and I'm going to ask you guys the things that you wrote down, and I'm going to put them on my whiteboard. So I'm starting the timer. And I want you to think of things that you can do instead of going to the kitchen and grabbing food. I just listed a bunch for you. Here's the kicker. Write down stuff you will actually do. Don't just write it down because I told you that it's an option. Like, if you won't actually call a friend, don't write that down. So you guys can start writing those down. I'm going to get my whiteboard ready. And in the comments, we have Dre saying she's here. You'll watch the beginning later. Happy to have you here. Minus Starbucks. I'll go broke because of it and financially be upset, but emotionally it will be happy and pleased, and all my problems disappear. It's very short-lived, unfortunately, though. Yeah, the financial aspect. Millie was talking about the popcorn. Like, if you add up how much Smart Pop you probably buy, you'd probably throw yourself back at, whoa, that's It's a lot of money right there for just some Smart Pop. So I'll go over that list that I shared with you guys before if you're stuck on some, but it's move away from the situation, take a walk, play some music, meditate, journal, scream, yell, call a friend, text a friend. Maybe you haven't had your workout in for the day. Maybe you're gonna just go work out, do a little mini circuit. You know, Millie loves the mini circuits. Maybe you just do a mini circuit in that moment.
Mhm.
For those of you on Facebook, if you're coming up with things, drop them in the chat and I will add them to the list as well. So, are you guys ready? Perfect. I have multiple fun colored markers. So, who's going first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Oh, can you hear me? Am I on
I
mute?
can.
Oh.
No, you are good.
So because it's spring, there's always so much to do in our yard. So I said, go out in the yard and do something because, you know, we're raking leaves or pulling things, you know, all the time. So I said that, or stupid mindless stuff that I learned more on the plane, play those stupid games on your phone. I don't always do that, but I probably have done it more because I had so much time. And drink water. A lot of times when I drink water, that really changes how I feel about things, you know, because then I'm just kind of full and I don't know, I'm moving to that. I bought these recent things in a pack and they're fizzes and they have vitamin B in them and they just taste good. And I been drinking those a little bit more when I rather eat, but so let's see. You said text a friend. I wrote that down. Clean a closet because we're in the mode of cleaning because it's spring and I'm literally like shedding things from my house. Like I told you this a long time ago, so sick of looking at clothes that don't fit me anymore. And I have gotten rid of them. And, you know, I did end up hiring like an organizer that helped me, and I know I could do it myself, but that helped me. And now I'm like, I open a closet and I'm like just ditching stuff. So I feel really good about that.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love the clean closet. I love that.
Yeah. I have more, but some of them were repeats of what you said too.
Perfect. Millie, it sounds like you have an awesome list. I love the yard work idea because you're right. There is stuff outside. You can go pull weeds for 5 minutes.
Right.
Like we all have enough weeds in our life. There are so many out there that if I did that every single time, we'd have no weeds.
Right. There you go.
Karen, how about you? What came up for you?
Well, I liked the flower bed thing because you're right. Like you always like tend to lump it into one, I've got to go weed in like one huge time thing. And if you just broke it up when you're having an emotional thing, it would be great. I have started to use water as a bargaining chip for myself. Like I really wanted, so when we were in Disney last week, I drank Coke like it was my job because I love Coke and it was cheaper than water and the whole thing. So so this week I've had serious headaches because I've like no Coke. So today I was like, okay, you drink 2 glasses of water, then you can have your Coke. And so I'm trying to use water as a bargaining chip for myself because 9 times out of 10, I won't have the Coke or I'll get busy with something else by the time I finish my water. And so I am not a good dancer, but I really like to dance. So I get up and dance or put on, and it's always some kind of weird, like Brazilian soccer music or something that's like totally not what we would listen to in the car, but I think I'm a rock star.
I love it.
Then I either voicemail you or Jamie seems to do the trick on that. I can't read when I would love to be able to read because I love to read, but that is when I do my mindless snacking. So I have to really control when I read, like at a mealtime, like at breakfast, at lunch, that I can read. But the other thing was I wrote down journaling, but honestly, like sometimes I feel like I write in my journal as if somebody was going to read it every night. And I just need to, that defeats the purpose of it. Not like it's a, diary from when you were in high school and writing about people, but you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I need to be honest because otherwise I'm just wasting time. So.
I like that. And you're right. A lot of times when we write stuff down, we have hesitations that somebody's going to see it. But I have Kat, who's in this group, I actually challenged her. She does video journaling at the start of each week because she's practicing being on camera and it's easy. She puts the camera up, she videos how her week went, how she wants her week to go. And she has this record of it because she said journaling wasn't work, like physically writing didn't work for her. Mm-hmm. So you can voice journal, you can actually journal, you can do on the computer, you can video journal. So journaling looks different, but as long as you're honest, like you said, Karen, be honest with yourself and those emotions, you're going to get 10 times further than when you're not.
Yeah. Okay.
Belisa, how about you? What's coming up for you? Or Harley, what's coming up for you?
All right. So my list is what I came up with so far. The short term was play music. And I have multiple different playlists of the one, because we play music a lot. So kind of like different playlist. I'm going to try and set up one more of like to get me out of the funk that I'm in. To chug my water. That maybe it's just that kind of feeling. To take the dog out, because sometimes we get into fights of whose turn it is. And I'd be like, this is a good distraction outside. And, maybe play with her more. So longer outside isn't a bad thing. And then I put down doing laundry because we're home most of the day, that if I need to go change, clothes from the washer or dryer, food isn't anywhere in sight. Like I can fold laundry. Like that's not a time that I'm going to want to eat. So I'm just like changing the pace and scenery, hopefully will pull me out of the funk of wanting to go eat whatever it is I wanted. So those are my quick ones. And then I had going outside and weeding or picking up things, organizing closets or space when I have more longer periods of time.
I love that. So for any of you guys who want these, I am creating a PDF that's going to include a combined list of what you guys all talked about today and my list. Just drop emotional or emotion, either word, in the comments or in the chat, and I will get you that PDF. But I'm going to take a picture of this and I'm going to add mine to it. These are all the things you guys came up with today, all on your own. So we have yard work, game on phone, drink water, drink something flavored, clean a closet, text a friend, flower beds, dance party, voice memo a friend, honest journal, play music. I put funky, Belisa. You better have some funky music playlist. Chug water, take the dog outside or play, do some laundry. It's a great time to also get yourself to do those house chores during the day that just take a second. I'll swap laundry over to get yourself out of that situation. So if you guys want all three of these all written out nicely in my pretty PDFs that you guys have seen, just drop emotional or emotion in the comments and I will make sure I get that to you. So now that we've done the activity, I want to share one other thing with you guys that's kind of a bonus. So we just talked through 3 steps to help us when that emotion hits, right? So when it actually happens in the moment, how to get through it. There is a way with time that we can actually stop those emotions from controlling us. And that is by supporting yourself in your lifestyle. So eating healthy foods, staying on track with a routine, working out, doing these things such as giving yourself relaxation time, connecting with people. A lot of these things we either take for granted or we're not doing, or we just haven't incorporated into a routine. By getting consistent with moving our bodies, exercising our minds, drinking water, eating healthy foods, and moving through those, it supports our mind and our body together, which then supports our emotions. You guys have probably seen recently, because I have seen recently a lot. If we want to be positive people, we have to surround ourselves by positive people. So if you're feeling like the people around you are being negative and it's causing you to negatively have that emotion, in turn, have that stress eating time, maybe it's certain people that we need to pull away from at certain times. Maybe it's incorporating a little bit more positive people after we've been with more negative people. So there's a huge lifestyle changes that in the long run are awesome to incorporate. And I like to share that because I took you through 3 things you can do in the moment, but there is ways long-term that we can get ahead of it. So I want to go around the room per usual. Takeaways, insights, and is there an action that you are going to commit to, whether it's taking this list and putting it on the fridge for when this happens, or putting it in front, like where are you going to put this list to help you remember? You can do other things than go to the pantry. And I think Karen has a little picture of me, or she did in her old house, of me saying why somewhere.
I did. Why? Yeah, it didn't get, I don't know where that went, but
I can get you another one if you'd like.
yeah, it didn't make it to the new house for some reason. Maybe it's still in the fridge there. Yeah, well, I guess since I'm talking, I'll do my takeaway first. If you want. I just I guess I love the fact I get really busy sometimes. We all get really busy in the week, and I think taking the time to pause for this training on Thursdays is maybe the most important thing of all, because you realize, hey, it's not just me. Like sometimes I think when I do these emotional binges, it's just like you close off the rest of the world and it's just you. No one else suffers with this. It's just, and it's just nice to have that, I don't know, tribe of people that also goes through the same thing. So my takeaway is, if I'm actually able to, I need to get on the call if I'm not traveling or whatever, and because it just does good to talk to other people.
I love it. And just like Millie did today, if there's ever times when we were traveling or like Jean was earlier today, she didn't have her screen on. If I know you're somewhere, but you want to be live and listen, feel free to come on. Don't put your screen on. You don't have to talk. And I'll do if you haven't told me in advance, if you want to talk, just unmute yourself. If not, I'll pretend you're just here as a listener. So because we are busy, but you're right, making this a priority to make us feel like we're not the only ones that deal with these things makes us feel supported and not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And where are you putting this list? Where do you find these triggers happen the most? So where do you think that list should be? At least one copy.
Somewhere in my office. I spend most of my day in here. So I've been thinking about redoing how my desk faces anyway. So if I turned it around and faced it towards the wall, which I know is probably not feng shui, but then I have a wall to kind of put notes on in front of me. Right now I have nothing in front of me, so I can't. Yeah, my desk is a mess because there's everything else that can't go on an invisible wall here. So
could you put it on a sticky note and put it like on the door frame, so when you walk out the door you have to see it?
Yes, I could.
Because your kitchen isn't connected to your office, right? You have like a separate room.
Well, it's right there. It's right through this doorway.
Okay, but you'd have to look at the sticky note and walk through the doorway to get to the kitchen.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, thank you for being here, Karen. I'm so happy to see your face.
I know, me too.
Millie, how about you? What is your takeaway, insight, and what is your action?
Well, like Karen, I was just really happy to get on. It's just nice to see you, Karen, in person. And I know we're like Facebook friends, so it's fun that way. And my biggest takeaway, I'm grateful to be on it, definitely. But when you said the number 3, support yourself in the moment. Like, we try to support everybody else, but I don't think about supporting myself. And then all those tips and ideas, I mean, yeah, I do those. I run outside and I start playing in the garden, but sometimes I don't think about, oh, I'm doing it to get away from this or that. And I am. I mean, I'd rather eat that bag of popcorn all day long, but I don't, I think about it. And I was trying to look for years and years and years ago, like, I'm not kidding, maybe 30 years ago, I was part of a program called TOPS, Take Off Pounds Sensibly. I don't even know if they're still around, but they used to have like this little, we used to chant it kind of like in the beginning of it, like, I am in control of my emotions and I'm not going to let my emotions take control of me, or something like, I don't know. I would love to find it, but it was something like that. And that, when you said that, I was like, yes, I'm in control, not my emotions. But I want to try to find it, because that was almost the best part of going to that meeting every week is hearing that. And, weight has always been an issue. That's why it was probably 30 years ago I joined that, but I'm going to try to find it and I'll post it in our group.
Yes, please do. And if you find like a video of them chanting it, like on YouTube, post the video.
Okay.
Or post a video of you chanting it. I'm down for that.
Okay, I'll do that.
I'm down for that too. I think they always say, like, if you actually vocalize something, it really brings it to.
Yeah. And when you said that word emotion, don't let your emotions control you. It was like that brought that back, but I don't remember it exactly. So I'm going to try to find it and I will gladly do it in the group.
Yay.
I love it. And what is your action? Where are you going to put this list of stuff so that you can be in control?
Well, I am going to rewrite it. I'm going to look for your PDF maybe and just post that. And it would be good to put on my fridge or just in the kitchen area. Just to remind myself, because as we were talking and, I just rushed, I got home just in time. I couldn't find my little notebook that I've been writing all this stuff in. And so I wrote it in a place that, I mean, it is my day timer, but it's not my me book, so I want to rewrite this, which is good because then I remember it all. But yeah, I'll probably put it in the kitchen somewhere where it's like, okay, do something different.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, Millie. I'm so happy you've had such great trips too. And if you guys are not friends with Millie and you want to see a bunch of travel photos, definitely friend her. She travels a lot and posts amazing photos. So if you want to live vicariously through a traveler, she's the one to do.
Thanks.
Valisa, how about you? What is your insight and action?
Unmute. Okay. I am going to I'm going to do 2 lists. I'm going to do one in my office so that I see it at my desk. And the other one I'm going to post on the freezer because that's where I like to hide my chocolate is in the freezer on the top shelf. Right now, there's no chocolate there. So this might be a rough week. I'm really trying to not that as a go-to. So I'm going to put it on the freezer and remind myself of the other positive things that I can be doing. And I wasn't I felt like there was a lot of little tidbits today, but I definitely, when I was driving home, I had errands that I ran in the morning and my timer went off to remind me that this call was going on in 10 minutes. And it was like, oh, I just felt like I didn't have time because I knew I wanted to meal prep and stuff. So I'm glad I didn't use that as an excuse because I feel like I've done that in the past and say, nope, this is important. I'm going to get valuable information out of it, even if it looks like I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. But it was good. I feel like I got some good personal insight on myself and kind of how I was eating or craving different things when different emotions would come up, and kind of some new ways to cope with them, to acknowledge it, be in the moment and be present. And then I get to make the choice of how I want to proceed afterwards.
I love it. And I love that you said on the way home, the alarm went off for it. And you thought, I don't have time to do this. I have to meal prep. And instantly we all would have probably been like, well, they'll just skip it. It's just this normal meeting. Like, it's not a big deal. It's this free thing. I don't have to go. But I really, really like that you were not afraid to be on camera multitasking. You're like, yeah, I'm meal prepping. And this is what life looks like. Life is not, we always have time to sit down for an hour. Millie was in the car on the way home today. Like, these meetings are meant for you guys to kind of listen where you can, input where you can. And when you're on these Zoom calls, you are going to get more out of it. You guys can all attest that you get more out of this here than when you're watching the replay, because
That's
you can
exactly what
interact.
I thought. I can watch the replay and I'll get the info, but it did have a bigger impact on me today to engage with you in the group. So I appreciate that.
You are welcome. And I appreciate you guys all being here and taking time out of your day to either be in the car on your way here, to sit down and take an hour out of your lunch, or to be meal prepping during all this, or to be live on Facebook. You guys, thank you for being there. And like I said, there is replays. So for all of you who are watching the replay on Facebook, and I think all three of you guys know already, but this turns into a podcast. So if you would like to listen to this on the go, because you're like, I really just cannot make Thursdays work, but I want to listen when I'm walking or I'm working out or I'm in the car, whenever, just drop podcast. And I will also get you the link to that podcast as well. So it's really nice just to have it. But I will send everyone who dropped a motion the PDF. I will have that to you by Monday at the latest. And thank you guys once again for just being here. I love seeing all of your beautiful faces. And I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday and a happy Easter. Lisa, I will be seeing you in about 3 days.
And I'm doing, so I am Morgan's aunt, and I got tasked to bring dessert for Easter, which I love desserts. And so it's going to be some like chocolate Oreo cheesecake thing, but I'm okay with it because I can take it there and I can have like my little sliver to get my chocolate fix, but it's not sitting in my refrigerator to where I want to eat the whole. So I'm feeling good about it. I'm allowing it, enjoying it with family time, but sharing it.
Yes.
And I will be honest, for our last holiday, she made some salted cheesecake thing and we all wanted leftovers and there was none. So it's okay when you're the cook and you get to bring it, everyone loves it because you end up with no leftovers. Well, you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys all next week.
Okay. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Bye, you guys.